Lao Tzu, The Art of Not Trying, ancient Taoist wisdom on effortless power, peace, and living in flow. The power of letting go. There are those who chase, and there are those who become. Thousands of years ago, in the quiet valleys of ancient China, a man walked away from a chaotic world. He turned his back on a crumbling empire, its wars, its greed, its noise. And in that silence, he found something most never do. His name was Lao Tzu, literally old master. A man of paradox, mysterious, gentle, wise. He didn't leave us commandments. He left us a current, a flow. His work, the Tao Te Ching, only 5,000 characters long, became one of the most profound spiritual texts in human history. Not by shouting truths, but by whispering them. Stop thinking and end your problems. Can you step back from your own mind and thus understand all things? What he taught was more than philosophy. It was a way of being, a way of returning, a way of non-doing that changed everything. Wu Wei, the unseen power of effortless action. Central to Lao Tzu's teaching is a concept so foreign to our modern minds, it almost feels wrong. Wu Wei, literally non-action, but really non-forced action, or action in alignment with the flow. Not sitting idle, not abandoning life, but moving with life, not against it. Think of the archer who tries too hard to hit the target. Their tension ruins their aim. The harder they try, the more their hands shake. But when they relax, when they trust, the arrow flies true. This is Wu Wei. Less and less do you need to force things until finally you arrive at non-action. When nothing is done, nothing is left undone. The Tao is like water, soft, silent, yet able to carve mountains and nourish the earth. And Wu Wei is living like water, moving with gravity, with nature, with timing. The enemy of flow, the ego that forces, Lao Tzu warned us. Ego is the great disturber of peace. It wants to push, control, dominate. It says, I must do this to be worthy. I must try harder to be successful. I must win. But the Tao laughs at the need to prove. He who stands on tiptoe does not stand firm. He who rushes ahead does not go far. The ego wants to force life to bend, but the Tao asks you to bend with life. What if your trying is actually blocking the very thing you're reaching for? What if peace isn't something you earn, but something you remember? How the wise lead, not by force, but by presence. Lao Tzu saw leadership differently than most. A true leader, he said, is like the valley, humble, unseen, yet drawing everything toward it. When the best leader's work is done, the people say, we did it ourselves. The wise don't dominate. They influence through stillness, through quiet example, through alignment with the deeper flow of life. They don't scream to be heard. Their silence carries weight. Their presence inspires trust, not fear. This is the art of not trying to lead, and yet becoming a leader of the highest order. Nature as the greatest teacher. Lao Tzu did not write from theory. He observed nature. He walked among trees, rivers, stars. He noticed that clouds don't stress about their shape. The moon never hurries, and yet it's always on time. A tree never resists the wind, but bends, and so it survives. Nature teaches us Wu Wei every day, but we're too busy striving to hear it. A tree that is unbending is easily broken. Remain empty, and you will be filled. The modern world worships fullness, of schedule, of ambition, of status. But Lao Tzu tells us to be empty, because in emptiness, there is space for the Tao to move through you. The sacred strength of softness. In a society that honors the hard, the fast, the loud, Lao Tzu honors the soft, the slow, the silent. Nothing in the world is as soft and yielding as water, yet for dissolving the hard and inflexible, nothing can surpass it. Softness is not weakness. It is the strength that doesn't need to shout. It is the power that does not dominate, yet cannot be defeated. A gentle word turns away wrath. A patient heart outlasts storms. A flexible mind cannot be broken. Peace is not the goal. It's the path we are taught to chase peace like it's at the end of a finish line. But Lao Tzu reminds us, peace is already here, underneath the striving. When you stop forcing, stop grasping, stop proving, peace rises. Be content with what you have. Rejoice in the way things are. When you realize there is nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you. Modern application. Living the Tao. Today in today's world, this is not just philosophy. This is medicine. In a world addicted to control, Lao Tzu teaches surrender. In a world of burnout, he teaches rest through flow. In a world of endless ambition, he teaches contentment in simplicity. In a world of noise, he teaches the clarity of quiet. You don't have to abandon life, you just have to stop fighting it. When you align with the Tao, you discover something unexpected. Life wants to carry you. All you have to do is let it. Return to the source. The way to do is to be. He who knows others is wise, he who knows himself is enlightened. In the end, the art of not trying is not about inaction. It's about inspired action, born from inner stillness. You don't need to climb a mountain to find peace. You just need to come home to yourself, to your breath, to the moment, to the place where trying stops and being begins. That is the Tao. Flow like water, moving through resistance. In the stillness of a mountain stream, Lao Tzu found something that warriors, kings, and scholars spend a lifetime chasing. Effortless power. He watched the water. It did not roar. It did not boast. It simply moved. It flowed down mountains, around rocks, through valleys. Never in a straight line, but always forward. The supreme good is like water, which nourishes all things without trying to. And here lies the secret. Water doesn't resist. And because of that, nothing can resist it, the illusion of resistance. Modern life is built on resistance. We push through traffic, push through emotions, push through exhaustion, push through others. We're taught that victory belongs to the most persistent. But Lao Tzu offers a deeper wisdom. Do you have the patience to wait till your mud settles and the water is clear? Can you remain unmoving till the right action arises by itself? The world tells us, act fast. The Tao tells us, act true. Because rushing is not the same as progress, and action is not always the answer. Sometimes, the answer is to be still. Water finds a way without forcing one. Picture a giant boulder in the middle of a river. The water doesn't attack it. It doesn't try to destroy it. It simply goes around, day after day, gently, patiently, until one day, the rock is gone. That's the way of the Tao. Life will place obstacles in front of you. Pain, uncertainty, fear, people who try to stop you. But the one who flows like water cannot be stopped, because they don't cling to one path. They adapt. They trust that if they keep moving with integrity, with stillness, with alignment, they will get there, without destroying themselves along the way. The soft overcomes the hard. The gentle overcomes the rigid. The paradox of yielding. What does the world teach you about strength? It teaches you to be firm, to stand your ground, to hold your position. But Lao Tzu asks you to look again. He says, the tree that does not bend with the wind breaks in the storm, but the reed that bends survives, even thrives. In the Tao, to yield is not to lose. To yield is to live long enough to win in the long run. Let go and be guided. Most people are like a person trying to swim upstream. They fight the current, they get tired, they sink. The strength of simplicity. Why less truly is more. We live in a world drowning in more ambition, more information, more noise, more goals, more things we're told we need in order to be happy. But Lao Tzu saw through this illusion long ago. He lived simply, spoke softly, wrote briefly, and yet his words shook empires. Because in his quiet life, he found something the world has forgotten. To attain knowledge, add things every day. To attain wisdom, subtract things every day. The burden of excess. In the modern world, we chase complexity like a badge of honor. We wear busyness like armor. We call ourselves productive while secretly crumbling inside. We build towers of information, but forget what it feels like to simply be. Lao Tzu watched people fill their lives with things, titles, duties, attachments, and saw how it only made them suffer. Chase after money and security, and your heart will never unclench. He saw that excess creates tension. That clutter of the mind, of the schedule, of the soul, pulls us away from the Tao. The more we try to own, the more we are owned. Simplicity is not poverty. It's power. When Lao Tzu spoke of simplicity, he wasn't glorifying suffering or deprivation. He wasn't telling you to live in a cave or wear rags. He was pointing you back to clarity, to the kind of richness that cannot be bought, because it was never for sale. He who knows he has enough is rich. Simplicity is not having nothing. It's needing less. It's knowing that peace doesn't come from adding. It comes from letting go. Imagine a cup. When it's full to the brim, nothing new can enter. But when you empty it, suddenly there's room for tea. This is the mind in Tao. Empty, open, ready. Letting go of the unnecessary, look around your life. What are you clinging to that's weighing you down? A responsibility you no longer love? A belief that no longer serves you? An image of yourself you're constantly performing? Lao Tzu invites you to simplify, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. Because when you strip away everything that's false, what's left is truth. Manifest plainness, embrace simplicity, reduce selfishness, have few desires. The beauty of ordinary things. In Taoism, there's no need for grandeur, no need to impress. The sacred is not in the spotlight. It's in the quiet moments you often overlook. The silence before the sunrise, the warmth of a shared meal, the sound of wind moving through trees. Lao Tzu reminds us, you don't need more to feel more. You just need to become present enough to feel what's already here. The Tao is great. When it flows through ordinary things, they become great too. A simpler way to live today. How do we apply this ancient simplicity to modern life? Start small. Clear one space, a drawer, a corner, a moment in your day. Say no to one thing that feels heavy. Make room for silence, even 5 minutes. Ask yourself, what would this look like if it were easy? And slowly as the noise fades, you'll start to hear something softer underneath. Your own inner Tao. The strength behind the stillness. Simplicity isn't weak. It's what's left when everything else is stripped away. It's a mind that can't be manipulated, a heart that can't be bought, a soul that doesn't need approval. It's the power to walk away, the courage to not explain yourself, the clarity to know when enough is enough. I have just 3 things to teach: simplicity, patience, compassion. These 3 are your greatest treasures. The quiet revolution. You don't need to escape the world to live this way. You just need to stop rushing past yourself. The revolution is not loud. It's not on billboards. It's in the quiet return to what matters, to breath, to kindness, to space, to peace. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is less. Stillness speaks, finding peace in the eye of the storm. The world is loud. Everywhere you look, something is shouting for your attention. The news screams, the city buzzes, your phone vibrates, your mind races, and somewhere in the chaos you forget what silence even feels like. But Lao Tzu remembered. He knew that silence is not emptiness. It is the birthplace of wisdom. Silence is a source of great strength. Stillness to Lao Tzu wasn't laziness. It was a return to the source. The point before thought, before reaction, before fear, the place where the Tao whispers. And when you find that stillness, you are no longer tossed by the storm. You become the eye within it. The world will always be chaotic. You cannot stop the wind. You cannot control the ocean. And you cannot silence the entire world. But you can become still within it. The wise are not afraid of what they cannot control. They simply do not try to control it. This is not surrender to chaos. It is mastery within it. Because Lao Tzu saw what few people see. Stillness is not the absence of motion. It is the anchor within it. The still lake reflects clearly. Imagine a lake on a windless morning. Its surface is glass. It reflects the sky, the trees, the mountains without distortion. Now imagine a lake during a storm. Choppy, turbulent, confused. Everything is distorted. Nothing is clear. Your mind is that lake. When it's disturbed, you misread everything. You react too quickly. You panic. You project. But when it's still, you see. You see things as they are. You see people without judgment. You see yourself without fear. Muddy water left to stand becomes clear. This is the power of inner stillness, clarity without effort, peace without retreat. How to find stillness in a moving world. You don't need a mountaintop. You don't need silence around you. You only need silence within you. Start with breath. One inhale, one exhale. Return to the space between your thoughts, the gap between the noise. That's where the Tao lives. Lao Tzu didn't ask us to escape life. He asked us to stop running from it, to be still enough to feel it again. Do you have the patience to wait until your mud settles and the water's clear? Stillness doesn't mean inaction. Stillness is not paralysis, it is presence. It is the ability to act with precision, not panic. Think of a skilled martial artist. They don't flail. They move only when needed and with total clarity. They are calm in the face of threat, still at the center of chaos. This is what Lao Tzu taught. To respond, not react. To move from truth, not fear. Stillness is the pause that saves you from self-sabotage, the strength of the unmoving. You've been told strength is movement, that to be powerful is to be fast, loud, visible. But Lao Tzu shows us something deeper. The mountain does not chase. The tree does not flee. The sky does not explain itself. And yet, they endure. Because true power doesn't need to prove itself. It simply is. The master does not seek fulfillment. Not seeking, not expecting. She is present and can welcome all things. Closing reflection. Become the eye of the storm. You can't control the waves, but you can become the surfer. You can't quiet the world, but you can quiet yourself. Stillness is not weakness. It is where your greatest strength arises. In stillness, you hear the Tao. In stillness, you remember what matters. In stillness, you return to yourself. Be still. The world will unfold in its time, like the petals of a flower in sunlight, without rush, without fear, just peace. Invisible leadership, influence, without force. Leadership today is often mistaken for control. We're taught that to lead is to command, to persuade, to assert, to stand above. But Lao Tzu saw through that illusion. He knew that the greatest leaders are often the ones no one notices. That real influence comes not from the loudest voice, but from the deepest presence. A leader is best when people barely know he exists. When his work is done, they will say, "We did it ourselves." This is invisible leadership. It doesn't shout, it doesn't dominate, it shapes the world, quietly. The paradox of power. Lao Tzu understood something that most never do. The more you try to control, the less control you truly have. People resist force. They comply, but resent. They obey, but rebel inside. But when you lead with softness, presence, humility, integrity, you create alignment instead of resistance. The more laws and restrictions there are, the poorer the people become. Leadership is not about making people do something. It's about creating the space where right action arises naturally. The Tao doesn't control the river, it is the river. Lead by being, not doing. You don't need to convince others with arguments. You don't need to chase approval. You don't need a crown or a title. Lao Tzu teaches, the way you move, live, and show up is your greatest influence. When you act with peace, others feel peace. When you embody patience, others slow down. When you stop trying to impress, others drop their masks too. When the master leads by example, people live in harmony. This is the power of non-action, not the absence of effort, but the absence of ego. The humble leader lasts the longest. A tree that grows too tall, too fast, will be the first to fall in the wind. But the one that bends, that grows with the seasons, that stays rooted, will stand for 100 years. The same is true of leadership. Pride leads to collapse. Domination breeds rebellion. But humility lasts. All streams flow to the sea because it is lower than they are. Humility gives it its power. Let others shine. Let others think they made the choice. That's not weakness, it's wisdom. Because if your presence truly brings value, you don't need to remind anyone. Invisible leadership in your life. You don't need to be a CEO to lead. You lead every day with your choices, your words, your presence. Try this. Don't react right away. Pause. Let the Tao speak first. Make space for others' voice. Step back without disappearing. Let go of being right. Focus on harmony, not victory. Do the work and let go of the credit. And soon you'll find people trust you. People follow you. People feel seen by you. Not because you took power, but because you made them feel powerful. The master's touch. The master moves without force, teaches without words, leads without control. How? Because they trust. They trust the process. They trust the timing. They trust the Tao moving through all things. So they don't interfere. They guide, not push. They shape, not squeeze. They know the best kind of leadership feels like freedom. True leaders are not at the center. They are the quiet ground others can stand on, the clear mirror others can see themselves in, the still lake that reflects the sky.